Hello. So today we are going to be exploring the effects of positive and negative words, emotions, and intentions, and how they affect our everyday lives. We're going to be looking at this through both spirituality and research done by Masaru Emoto, who was a Japanese scientist who passed away back in 2014. Emoto put water into some jars and exposed the jars to both positive and negative outside influences. Then he froze the water and looked at the frozen molecules under a microscope. The results were actually pretty amazing. So, some of the outside influences that he exposed the water to were music, thoughts, and words, and just energies in general. So, the music that he exposed the water to was Beethoven, Bach, Chopin, and just a variety of healing music. He also exposed it to heavy metal music. The music that was exposed to Beethoven and Bach had very beautiful geometric shapes in the molecular design, and it was almost like a snowflake, and it was just very aesthetically pleasing. But the music that was exposed to the heavy metal, he describes it as being very unpleasant to look at or very disconnected and disfigured. He also did it with thoughts and words, so he did talk to the water and give positive and negative energy through speech. And he also ended up writing words on a label and placing them on each jar. He used words like love, hate, angry, thank you, you make me sick. And the results turned out to be pretty much the same with any positive energy. The geometric design was pretty or beautiful or, pretty much perfect and very beautiful to look at. Like I said, just like a snowflake. But any mean or negative energy that was put towards the water ended up in resulting in unpleasant, distorted molecules. And it just became very interesting to just see that water can react to the energy given to it. And in his studies, he did prove that water holds memory as well. So just being able to hold the memory and hold the energy is a very significant discovery, really. Just how all that energy is actually stored in that water.
Energy being stored in the water. She's a Native American. Her name is Pat McCabe, and she talks about similar things where she, instead of freezing water, she has a direct connection to water, which is really interesting because you could, if any of you guys want to YouTube her, you should. She could explain it way better than I can. But anyway, so she has this divine connection to the water, to which at one point water flowed up into her house, and the water was, I guess she was learning how to talk to it, and that it hears you and sees things in it, and it's and it makes sense what Nikki was talking about with Emoto, that all this energy is transferred into it. And it's just all over the world. You get this, water is everywhere. You're 70% water. Without water, there's no life. And so she was, I guess, I don't know, it kind of sounds weird, but she was kind of directed or told by the water, said, please come and pray with me in like a body of water, like a large body of water, and I think she went to like a big lake, and she would pray and give gratitude to the water and whatever she was resonating with. And through that, the water was teaching her that, through the evaporation, through that whole scientific realm of water transferring into air, then just spreading along the land and then traveling, hundreds and thousands of miles. So it was like what she was putting in was spreading everywhere. So it makes sense to me. And it also too, when we go to, for those that go to church or are familiar with the church, and I'm pretty sure everyone's familiar with holy water, but, when we pray in the holy water, it's the same concept, right? We're storing that positive energy, that healing energy, and then, everyone uses it, right? And it reminds me of when I was younger. My mom, she's very spiritual as well, and through her, I learned how to listen and just kind of be open to things of the light. And anyways, she was directed to get holy water from 7 different churches. I haven't really looked up on it, but they call it the 7 powers. And I was probably like maybe 12 years old, maybe younger. And we got, I don't know, maybe it was like gallons of this stuff. And we maybe 2 gallons, and she had a gallon, I had a gallon. To this day, I still have that water, and it has, and it's crazy to say, but it's true. The water has never molded. It has never ran rancid where you open it up. You're like, wow, what the, it smells like, it don't smell like, it smells just as fresh as the day that we mixed all these waters together. And I think because these churches were speaking life, right? Speaking life into this stuff, which did not have room for anything negatively to grow on. So it makes sense to me that it still held together. And pretty amazing stuff. And I remember in Korea too. I think I was in Korea in 2012, and that's the first time I saw Emoto's stuff was through the YouTube. I was just, I got bored and was like, hey, let me see what I could YouTube. And, somehow he came up, and these, like the frozen water, right? Like it was like so symmetrical, like beautiful. The ones that were talking positive things to and giving love. And it was like, wow, you're seeing what a love snowflake look like, or, hey, I love you snowflake look like. It was beautiful. And then when, of course, things the opposite, it was distorted. It was like, there was no symmetry. It just looked like a blob. Like it just looked like it sounded, if that makes sense. And so all that stuff. Oh, very, 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 very interesting things.
Yeah, they did it with the water from a dam as well. Not just in a scientific room. They did it at what was it, Fujiwara Dam, I think it was. And then
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was some dam, and they had, the water was just really muddy, and so they had a couple monks come in, and they pretty much just prayed on the dam and the water, just try to clearing everything out. And then it was only a couple weeks, and all of the water had become clear. So they took the sample of the water before the prayer and froze it, looked at it, and all the molecules were just like blobs. And then, after that 2 weeks, once the water had finally settled and cleared, they took that and then froze it. And it was literally just like snowflakes. And it was like pretty. It was just very pleasant to look at. And honestly, it's kind of calming. Like when I was looking at some of the pictures, it was just very calming and just beautiful.
Yeah, they, yeah, and it kind of made me give gratitude to water. When I can remember is, oh, thank you, water. Because it sounds silly, but it's like, well, what am I going to lose, right? Or that's how I see the things. Like, well, I have everything to gain but nothing to lose, because if nothing happens, then I'm still the same. But if I can add value to me, I'm going to try to do it. So I love to try to remember to give gratitude to water, things I drink, just to transfer that energy. And it's a good mindset, because you're giving thanks. And then also, it reminds me too about they had done experiments on cancer patients. So they went and they had these bottles of water, and they were did the same thing. They had given gratitude to a bottle of water. And so before they gave the water to the patient that had cancer, they had pulled the blood just to see, just to get a before and after results of the effects of giving gratitude to water. And so when they pulled the blood the first time, they said, okay, yeah, there was, I forget the terminology, but there was a high number of blood cells that showed cancer. And so they're like, okay, drink the water. And so, she drank the water, and I think they waited like 3 minutes. And after that 3 minutes, they drew the blood. It showed a significant less amount of cancer cells. It was really like, it was almost like it had fixed it, kind of like, I want to say like a cure, but it was
It
just,
definitely improved it.
it improved the blood, like it improved what they saw. So I thought that was pretty interesting as well.
I was just going to say it's kind of awesome to look at it as, it healing somebody, just because we are 70% water, and it amplifies the power of our intentions on water or our thoughts on water. Just how, on the labels of the jars that Emoto was testing and looking at, it just speaks volumes of how powerful people's words are and everything like that. And when you think about it, okay, yeah, we're 70% water, and what people say to us, it actually sticks to us, and it actually kind of, I guess, hinders us. As kids, we're on the playground and we're kind of like, oh, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words never hurt me. But in reality, they really do. And they really, just like Emoto was putting labels on those plants or those jars of rice, those labels get put onto us as people. And, sometimes they're not good labels. And sometimes people label us negatively, or we label ourselves negatively. And it honestly affects our lives in the long run pretty significantly.
Oh yeah. So, and then, it kind of makes you think of, when you have done something for someone, like truly done something truly heartfelt, and the one that was receiving the gift tells you thank you. From my experience, it's like touches your heart, because, and it's sad to say, a lot of, I don't say a lot, but majority of people don't say thank you, and give you gratitude. And it's nice to hear when it's meant. And
And it's not that hard.
yeah, it's not that hard. It's just, yeah, it's just an expression of like, of, you acknowledging what the other has done for you, right? Like, and so, yeah, and even when some of the messages I've got from, angels, and that I hear, it's like they love gratitude. They love for you to say thank you. And I always, it sounds silly, like, why do they love it? But they love gratitude. They love that you are appreciating what they're doing for you. And it just opens up the heart so much more to receive more blessings, as opposed to the opposite. So all in all, it just adds so much to your walk, to those around you, to those that have family and kids. It just grows like these beautiful, symmetrical snowflakes. And it's like, oh man. And I hope some of you that don't find this stuff crazy, just research what love snowflake looks like. Just, go Google a love, frozen love snowflake, and it's so beautiful.
The one thing you did say was, you have to believe it. One of my favorite sayings is, you have to believe to receive. And a lot of people don't even believe that any of this is possible or it can't happen. And they just don't believe that they're powerful beings. They don't understand that through their thought, their intent, that they can literally do anything. Just like when people, like, scientists or doctors, someone's got their legs blown off and they're like, oh, you're never going to walk ever again. But if you have the positive mindset and the passion and, the confidence and everything to keep driving and keep going, whatever you're telling yourself, if you're positive, you will walk again one way or another. Yeah, maybe you don't have legs, but there's other ways of doing it. Or you can just kind of accept it in a negative way, like, okay, well, I guess I'm never going to walk, and then you're going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. It's all about your mindset, and people don't realize if they don't have a positive mindset, then they're pretty much just allowing life to live for them, because they're just living unconsciously. And honestly, that's no way to live. But just having control of your thoughts and your intentions, like I said, live your life and stop letting life live you. we're all pretty much creators and we all create our own lives. And intent is such a great, powerful thing. It just has to be like positive intent, I guess. Sometimes that we don't, or I'm sorry, intentional intent, I guess. I don't know how to say that. But sometimes we don't intend to hurt people, but we do. So in a situation, say you say something to somebody and you don't think it's a big deal. And then, later on you find out that they did think it was a big deal, from their perspective. That's just kind of going about everything unconsciously, instead of taking their feelings into consideration and all that. But yeah, you might be surprised what you find out about them, and how much it actually stuck to them and made them actually label themselves in that manner and affected their life greatly.
Oh yeah. So so for me, it always reminds me of Proverbs 18:21, where it talks about the tongue having the power of life and death. And for those who love it will eat its fruit. So, wow, it's powerful. I believe God gives us authority with our words. And the beauty of God is that he gives us free will, and he allows us to choose life or death. And we all know the consequences of both. But yet, we see so many take the life of death. They spew, kind of curses or these negative vows, against themselves or others. And when you speak it, you live it. And so we have to continuously be in the mindset of speaking higher thoughts, or, just higher vows with ourselves, like I can do this, or I will do this, or, as opposed to I'm a failure, or I can't do it, So it's really, really interesting, the power that it possesses. And I just love that we can capture those words through water and see what it's creating. And I think it's just completely awesome that imagine if we had a tally of everything we've said or spoken. I think a lot of us would really rethink about how we talk to people and what we share and what we don't share. And and it goes back to what you're saying, Nikki, about unconsciousness. I think we would live more consciously, because if someone was able to see the fruit that we were producing on a picture through water, like, I can only imagine what it would look like for some people. Some would be, very beautiful, and then others would just be like, what is this?
Like, I just had like this intense image in my head of just like half of a tree just being so beautiful and the fruit being so plump and juicy, and like the other half just being like just rotted like grapes and just dried out. And I don't know, it's kind of, you were just talking, that's kind of what just kind of came to my head. Sorry, go ahead.
No. And it's like, and I always like to resonate things through me. It's like, and I have kids. So it's like, would I give my kids a spoiled fruit, or would I give them a ripe fruit that is sweet? And so this is what helps me discern what comes out my lips. What am I going to hand to you today? And because I can negatively impact you, or I could positively impact you. And of course, I try to bring the positive, to add value to people, because there's just so much negative out there that we need to start recognizing the positive and start living the positive. So that way we see change, and change for others would change them. Yeah. So it's, I just try to make, imagine things so that way I could see more or less what I'm speaking. If that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. One thing that I like to do, and when people are, a lot of people kind of gravitate to me, and ask me a bunch of questions, and they're like, how are you so positive, this and that? I'm like, well, it's very simple. All you got to do is write a little sticky note on your mirror. That way, when you wake up and you're brushing your teeth, you see the sticky note just as a reminder. And all you have to do is speak positive words to yourself. That's all you got to do. So, this is actually a concept that's taken in with like meditation and mindfulness. So I was like, oh, well, let's just try it out. So I've actually told a lot of people to, the steps of doing this, and a couple of weeks will go by and they're like, oh my gosh, I just didn't know just being nice to myself could improve my life so drastically. So, but basically what you do is you just write on a little sticky note, slap it on your mirror, just to say some positive words to yourself in the morning. And then you just smile at yourself. Make sure you look at yourself right in the eyes, smile at yourself, and then just say something nice about yourself and be kind to yourself. When you actually look at yourself, since we don't actually really have a good memory of what we look like normally, unless you're vain and you're in front of the mirror all the time, but, just look at yourself in the mirror, look at yourself in the eyes and smile. And that actually stimulates neurotransmitters in your brain. And it also sends endorphins throughout your body. So it kind of like tricks your mind that you're looking at somebody that's not you, that it's somebody else. And it's telling your brain that somebody is smiling at you, which in turn makes you happy. And then, once you're happy, you kind of just tricked yourself for the day. And so once you're happy, then, you start to be more positive to other people. And it's just kind of a snowball effect, just like when you're at Starbucks getting your coffee and you roll up and the lady's like, oh, the person in front of you paid for your drink. And you're like, well, awesome. Okay. I guess I'm going to be paying for the person behind me. Oh, it's $50. Okay. Well, just here's my card, So it's definitely a good snowball effect. Just by talking nice to yourself in the morning.
Yeah. And also God has, through my walks with him, he's also shared with me that when we speak negatively and just think negatively, there's stuff that you create in your mind and body that is irreversible. Like you create sicknesses and you just create a lot of stuff that just will damage you permanently. It's like there's no turning back from what you held on to. So, that when I've heard that, I was like, man, I was a little worried because that is some deep negativity. And I'm sure people like that. I'm sure we've all ran into people that just no matter what you do, they're just never, ever happy and just see the negative side of everything.
They literally just suck the life out of you.
Yeah. And they just suck everything out. And they have all these sicknesses that just are irreversible from what God is telling me. And so, be careful because it's so easy to get caught up in that negative mindset for whatever reason. It just is. It's just, you just have to live consciously. Just treat yourself gently, grow yourself, speak light, into you so that you're not being affected and creating, making life harder than what it already is. Life is already hard. So why make it harder for yourself? And it seems like some people just love to make it harder for themselves. And then they get mad because it is harder. So to me, it just doesn't make sense. And, and I don't fault him because if they truly, truly knew what they were doing, like truly knew, they would not be doing it. And there's just so many factors that lead to that, but it's just so hard to get back up from that. You just got to start, like Nick was saying, just start, whatever resonates with you, whether it's, a Bible, whether it's script or like scripture is the Bible, but like, positive motivations, just whatever is, resonating with you. Try to feed that to you and live it so that you have an outstanding quality in life because your thoughts is of higher power.
Absolutely. And if you are one of those people and you might be thinking in your head, am I the negative person? Am I sucking all that energy from people? Then you probably are, but it's okay. You can change. You are not set in your ways and you have the ability to step out of that negative mindset and start becoming a more positive person. Literally, all you have to do is start being nice to yourself.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then, it also pulls up, I'm going to a little bit of a scripture here, but like 1 Corinthians 10:31, talks about, he says, so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all to the glory of God. And so that resonated with me because it's like, man, no matter what I'm doing, eating, drinking, I do it for a higher power. And this helps you align with, and it's helped me align my thoughts, because your thoughts are absolutely reality. Whether they're a true reality or a false reality, they're your reality. And that is what you think. That is making you. And so for me, I tend to learn to, these scriptures in there because it just adds so much value to your mind. And so I think, anything and all I do for the glory of God. So it's like, all right, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to clean these toilets to to the best. And it doesn't matter. I feel like nothing's underneath me. Nothing's beneath me. Like we have where scripture says Jesus was cleansing his disciples' feet, and for those that follow Jesus, he's the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, and he's doing these kind services to you, cleaning your feet, so it's like, so I try to imply to be a servant to others to help them grow. And that's just what's helped me. And of course, I make mistakes. I am far from perfect, but I learn from them. And that's the important part is learn, gain the experience, right? Because words can only offer you so much, right? To a certain extent. Think of the greatest experience that you ever had and then try to explain it to someone. You explaining it will actually limit what you experienced. So through the experiences, I think are important too, because that's when you're capturing things more than words. But it's just, I'm sorry, I'm going on tangent now, but this is what resonates well with me. And if you have another way, or please share with us so that way I can learn from you, because I had a lot to learn. And I think the best advice someone gave me was, and I don't remember if I read this or as someone gave it to me, was, you don't live long enough to make every mistake, so learn from others. I ran with that, and I'm gonna tell you what, I learned a lot of what not to do. So but anyways.
No, so you were saying that that verse from the Bible, and you said about the food and everything like that. So it kind of brought me back to, with the water and the water holding the energy and stuff like that. So is that why people pray over their food? Are they putting that energy into their food before they eat it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that, yeah, that ties right into it. People are projecting that gratitude, right, to a higher power. Thank you for this, being able to eat or consume this in our body, So yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point that you mentioned was, praying over the food and water, making our symmetrical snowflake is what I call it.
Yeah, the snowflake is such a derogatory term nowadays, but you know what? I kind of want to be a snowflake. Okay. Kind of want to be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, be of the light, be of love, be of laughter, be of these things that we call, be of joy. These are the things we strive for. And it's so hard. It gets just stripped from us so fast. Just amazing how fast it just gets stripped away. And what one person can do to ruin it, but also it just depends on how you see it, and don't give that power over to people. And and you'd be amazed what reciprocating the opposite energy of, like, they bring you negativity. A lot of times I tell people, oh, I love you too, when I'm getting a lot of negativity, say, hey, love you too. And it just, I don't know what it is, but it just breaks that negative mindset that's coming to me. And because people expect you to re-engage in them, because that's what we typically do. Like when someone speaks negatively to you, you're like, I'm gonna go on the defense, and I'm gonna up your negativity, and not only am I gonna do that, but I'm gonna curse you too. And it's like we take it too far sometimes, but we need to learn to pick our battles. Learn, you don't have to fight everybody. Save your energy. Some is just not even worth getting into. And that's why I just say, hey, love you too. And I just walk away. And that's not, and nothing else I can say, because it's like, everyone has an opinion, don't mean it's valid. So I just I let it be. Said, all right, I'm just gonna walk away from this one because it's not worth me compromising my state of mind for someone's ignorance.
And you'll definitely know if you have snowflake shapes inside your body or distorted ones. If when Soto says "I love you" and you get mad, then that might be like a red flag for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. Do you have? I'm trying to think of anything else I might got.
So yeah, so praying over your food and water. I always do. Well, I try to always. I'm not perfect. Anytime I drink water, I do put my intentions into it, especially just looking at the pictures of the snowflakes and all that stuff. I do try to put that positive energy into like my water bottle. That way, when I go and work out or, whatever, just throughout the day, that I, in my mind, I'm drinking it, one, to hydrate myself, and two, just getting that that positive energy through my body, just to keep that positivity, keep going. And then it's so cute. We just moved here and my daughter, she started going to the daycare here, and they have like this little cute, like, prayer thing that they do. I wouldn't say prayer, but they're speaking that positive energy into their lunch and their snacks and stuff. And it's so cute. And she makes us do it during dinner. And, she's always like, everyone put your suns up. So we all have to like put our hands in a big circle around our heads kind of thing. And, she goes ahead and says the whole thing. And while she's doing it, she's like doing the sign language for it. And honestly, I absolutely love it because, in my family, we've never really prayed over our food or anything like that. But she's just like, she's 4. So she's initiating it and saying the whole thing. And, it's pretty awesome. So I don't know. Yeah, it does something to my heart.
Yeah. Cause it's because it's adding value. You see the truth, you could see the truth when they say that the truth will set you free. Like you're seeing the value of creating that gratitude mindset, and I know it's and I know all this stuff is easier said than done. I get it because it's not the world we live in where everyone is thankful. Everyone's like, give me, and I want more. And it's hard to say thank you to that. It's hard to say, oh, hey, you're welcome for taking everything I have. So it's I get it. It's challenging. It's nothing is, and it's so funny how it's very, very challenging. I encourage you to try and keep pushing, because in the end, you're going to have to live with the actions and choices you make, verbally and non-verbally, everything. So
I do think it's awesome that we do have free will. There's all these arguments, do we or do we not? I believe that we all do have free will. And I do believe that we are all creators of our own lives. And just to have that decision is pretty cool because you can determine how amazing or how difficult your life is. And just like you were saying, some people, they have that victim mentality that, life happens to me and I can't, anything I do, every time I do this, X, Y, and Z happens. But they're not understanding that when they're like, oh man, every time I go to the store, I always have to park a mile away because I never get a parking spot. Well, by you saying that is making that happen every single time because you're speaking it into truth. Now, if you're, just start doing this, parking spot example. When you're done at the grocery store, just be like, oh, I am so happy that I got a super close parking spot. I mean, I don't know who likes to park close, but I mean, I don't, because people are crazy with their cars and they're, parking too close, scratching up my stuff. So, but if you're one of those people who likes to park close, just keep saying, I'm so thankful that I got to park close this time, and then just keep saying it and believe to receive. So keep saying it, believe it. And then eventually you're going to be finding that one random parking spot that's like right in front of the door. That way you don't have to go push your cart anywhere or do whatever you need to do. But that parking spot's going to be available to you because you are speaking that into reality.
Oh yeah. And I'm sure there's times where for those that are listening, that, when you're creating this thought process, like, try to think of an example, but like you're creating a positive or negative, and it's more negative. I'm gonna be realistic. A lot of people hang on to negative. So, let's say like you're just thinking this negative thought over and over again, and then it happens, and you're like, I knew it was going to happen. The
Because
same
you
thing.
created it.
Yeah, same thing Nikki was talking about is you created it. So you can't get mad for something you create, and people don't see that. People don't believe that they have the power to create, but you do. You have the authority. Authority is in what comes out. The power of the tongue. And,
Unless you give your personal power away.
yeah, exactly. Unless you give it away to someone, then or what we like to call the enemy. I like to call the lower form of energy. Then you're giving it authority. So by you speaking it and living it, you're giving that authority over to whatever realm you want to resonate, higher or negative. Very interesting, and think about it. Don't take my word for it or Nikki's. Just put it into practice, put it in play, and I hope it's more positive. Don't think of the negative.
Yeah, don't practice the negative. Don't do that.
Yeah, just do the positive. Practice with the positive, and see what comes of it. Try it out.
Yeah, because what do you have to lose?
Exactly. What do you have to lose? You gain anything you want.
So this episode we went over positive intentions. We went over how Emoto's research pretty much showed that water holds on to that energy, whatever energy you're projecting. And we went over prayer of food and water, just putting that energy into food and water, taking off labels that we put on ourselves and what we put on others, and just getting into a positive mindset. The best part of it is it's free. It's not going to hurt anybody, and it can only help you. It's not really going to hurt you being positive.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the time, for listening, because I know the value of time and the quality, the value of your time. Right, we appreciate you taking the time to listen, and please, if you have any suggestions or any feedback, please let us know.
We love the support that we've been getting, and you guys just keep that positive energy going. And if you have any suggestions or if you have any comments, please let us know. If there's something that you want us to elaborate on or speak on, our email and everything is on our Facebook, on the YouTube. So I just sounded so old, on the YouTube, but it's out there. One last fun fact I forgot to say. I actually just learned this not too long ago. But when Emoto was doing all the research and everything, he actually found that before that frozen water returned back to a liquid, it actually created a shape that was identical to the Chinese character for water.
Huh.
I thought that was pretty cool. So I just had to throw that out there, because I'm like, I learned that the other day and I was like, oh my goodness, that is so awesome. Like what a coincidence,
If there's not a higher power, I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
It's that's awesome.
So, well, that's all for today.
Yeah. Thank you again. You guys take care.